Hello, my name is Carri Wohlwend, and I'm here today to talk to you about writing lyrics. So, for me, writing good song lyrics has been a process that began with writing poetry. When I was very little girl, like third grade, fourth grade, I began writing poems. And so that process led me to write stories. Eventually, I wrote children's books, which were simple poems for me, and I was trying to figure out how do I write song lyrics? How do I take the music I'm hearing in my head and connect it to song lyrics? And it was the structure of the song that I was struggling with. And so I decided that I would settle on children's books as my structure, which relied heavily on poetry. That's the subject that I want to talk about today. I think a lot of people overlook when they think about songwriting. It's easy to hear a finished song and think it came from a melody or a chord progression or a catchy hook, but the truth is, underneath the music, underneath the beat, underneath all the production, songwriting is essentially poetry. And the more you understand how poetry works, the stronger your songwriting becomes. At their core, both songwriting and poetry are forms of storytelling. They're emotional communication. They're ways of taking a feeling or a memory or a truth you've lived through and shaping it into something another person can understand in just a few words. That's the connection right there. Both art forms rely on intensity of meaning over quantity of language. One of the biggest similarities is the use of poetic devices. Poets and songwriters draw from the exact same toolbox. Devices like metaphor, simile, symbolism, alliteration, assonance, consonants, and imagery. These are not just fancy literary terms, they're the building blocks of emotional impact. Let's start with a metaphor. When you say something like, my heart's a runaway train, you're not talking about an actual train. You're using metaphor to capture a feeling, momentum, danger, lack of control. Poets do it the same thing all the time. Metaphor allows you to communicate complex emotions instantly without spelling out every detail. It's a song that's powerful because you only have a few seconds to connect with the listener. Then there's symbolism. Symbolism is when an object or moment represents something deeper. Think about a porch light left on. It's a literal image, sure, but in both poetry and songwriting, it can symbolize hope, forgiveness, waiting, home, love, or regret. The object stays the same, but its meaning expands depending on the emotional context you place around it. That's why symbols show up over and over in the best songs: car rides, empty rooms, closed doors, photographs, headlights disappearing down the road. Each one carries emotional weight far beyond its physical description. All right, well, there's a lot more to say about that, but I'm exhausted from reading so much and all of that information. It's just too much. So let's just get down to the heart of my lyric writing process. Okay, I shared with you how it is like a poem for me. I want to make sure there's rhyming ideas. I want to make sure there's original things you've never heard of before. I want to make sure you're not bored. Okay, I'm concerned with a good story, and so following the plot diagram, even though it's a song, makes a lot of sense to me. It has four parts. It has exposition, rising action, five parts, um, falling action, and then resolution. So I'm thinking songs should maybe have those same things too, or at least an equivalent. So I do that with my song lyrics, and it literally starts with the idea, and the idea has to make sense, and it has to have some kind of resolution at the end. I have to be providing some kind of hope or conflict resolution, continuation of a conversation. There has to be some meaning to it. Then that process itself. Okay, so I literally do it on my computer. It's in a Word document. I love how some of them get deleted that I never deleted. those are the shady sides of the biz, but that's a whole nother conversation about computer science. And what I'm suggesting is that people can access your computer. Yes, I totally believe that they can. And I think that they take things on purpose. I think digital assets are valuable in a business world where some of us have been cut out of that business world. Cookies, somebody's making money off my cookies, but I'm not. So I think original files have a value that we don't necessarily get the benefit of, but that's another conversation for another day. That's my conspiracy world that I live in sometimes. In any case, start with a white. It could be a piece of paper. I do that sometimes. I like handwriting. I like to have handwritten notes, and I certainly, when it comes to music composition, I do handwrite my own music, to the extent that I'm able to. Okay, so I would say I'm at a place with my actual original composing on paper skills. I've probably advanced. I've been working on that a good amount of time as well as my singing, and that's something that I'm really proud of. So I do have my own original sheet music that I do create. Anyway, it takes a long time to do that though, so I don't always do it, but I should because I'll talk about why. Okay, because to be more precise in Soundtrap. Okay, if I'm gonna go in there and I know I need to set the drums, I should be able to tell it exactly how many um, bars of drums that I want it to lay down for me instead of just doing it by ear. It's not as, it's a little bit messy of a, um, it's not as skillful and it's a little bit lazy music composition skills. Okay, I think everyone who's does that would agree. But in any case, back to my original thing that I was talking about. Take the Word doc, begin to lay it down. You know, different sections, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, outro, bridge, all of the parts, all of the things. And then I do clap it. Once I write it all, I'm going to, simply like this. If it's faster, hopefully it's not slower. Oh God, that song. No, I'm just kidding. I love those songs. They're the best. You got to get excited over those slow songs, you guys. All right, but anyway, clapping it out, making sure that and then singing it without laying the instruments first. Do I like the way it's going to sound? Is it too high? Is it too low? Does it need something else? As far as the singing goes. Now, um, after that, I read it a few times. Do I like that? Is it interesting enough? Is it going to impress Taylor Swift with my songwriting, or is she going to be bored? If she's going to be bored, I'm going to rewrite it. I think about her. Okay, you guys should too. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm not as good as she is, and I'm just going to keep going when I'm going to do the best that I can. And sometimes I like really silly things in my songwriting that other people wouldn't put there, and I'm like I just like it. I'm from a different time. Like I'm older than a lot of you guys. So the things that please me are a little bit different and they're a little bit sometimes nerdy. They just are. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. All right, but use of AI. Conversation for another day. Teacher Carrie is not looking forward to having this conversation with all of you. Basically, in a nutshell, it's a tool that I think we should use. Okay, in a variety of ways, mostly to research things. Now, with music, I do use it. I use Suno, and that's only a recent use. Because it's better than I am. It's so much better than I am. And I can have it write those pieces of music and literally just drop them into my thing if I want. But because I'm already on this musical composition journey, I'm not just going to have Suno write all my music for me. Um, I'm going to ask it to create first draft for me probably, and then try to recreate it on my own until I get good enough to where I don't have to use it. But I am never not an acoustic I'm not an acoustic performer. I don't play an instrument well enough to play it in person. I could do rhythm. I could do beat. I can set, I can warm up your dancers, your vocalists, your every person on your crew. I can set the mics. I can check the sound. I can bring the catering. I got the whole 9 yards for being around. But when it comes to music, I'm limited. Like I said, I can keep the rhythm and the tempo, find the note, warm everybody up, but that's about where it stops, unless I'm singing. And I am, I can compose and write, but if you put that piece of music in front of me, I'm not going to be able to play it. Now but that doesn't mean that if you put a piece of music in front of me, I'm not going to be able to sing it by reading the sheet music. So my voice is really my instrument is really my voice. And hopefully those of you listening that find fault with me that I haven't learned to play the guitar or the piano, I hear you on that. It's a definite mistake on my part, but that takes a lot of time that I just did not have. And so, or that I didn't put in that way or in that place. But so I did put it into my voice, and hopefully you will hear that when I sing Here I Am by Patty Loveless, or when I sing um I don't know, my most recent creation, when I sing the Cowgirl's Lament. I'm going to make you cry. That's my promise to you. When you hear me sing, I will make you cry. And that's what I intended to do, and that's exactly what I did. So, I'm going to leave it there. It's 12 minutes in. Um Gave a little speech about my musicianship. Um Hopefully I can still have a place among you great musicians without having to have that, because I'm not going to have it. I'm just never going to have that. I mean, I guess maybe in about 10 years, but I'm not going to be sitting around trying to play the. Actually, I might play piano. Not learning to play guitar. Although, actually, okay. Steel guitar, perhaps. Other instruments, not happening. But, oh, I know why I said all that. I said all that to say that I play them in Soundtrap. Don't have to play them for real. Just play them there. All right, you guys. Talk to you soon. Goodbye. Thank you for listening.